Can't do that.
I just think that they're going to do it again here. They can
Eagles rally, double Eagles rally, double stun on Sanford Soccer, who had no chance of getting out of that. And Dardes plus Nika equals painful. Dardes de-transforms though. Pagon on the wrong side of this fight. Dardes could actually grab the stomach now. Dardes has got to leave. An awkward game of chicken over on the right side of the map. Fine OK left alone. Kivo Fred still has Fatal Strike. And so may end up being a kill on the Fine OK if Kivo Fred can just get a bit more damage. No, gotta take the route out to the right and had to dodge all the damage from Panicat. Pagon in the meantime still on a world tour between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower, and it'll end up going down to vote. Only Warriors, they do not get the Pyro, but they do get a couple of kills.
Chase is just a little too short, I think, to use the Benny Hill theme, right? It was almost long enough if he got a little further.
We got like one saxophone note and then it was over.
Unfortunately, I mean, it was, I think, a really good call, right? You said he was deep. He goes over, tries to get a little bit of farm to push up even further on the right-hand lane. Gets caught out, kind of pincered down. Nika, Dardes rushing him, uses the Bifrost. Immediately, 4 Warriors turn and start running at him in the jungle. And so there wasn't a lot of opportunities to get out of there. But 2-2, not a terrible looking slash line. It's just that now, I mean, it's been 40 seconds without him, and it gave a numbers advantage to the Warriors. I like this call for a Fury.
Nika, though. That is a lot of CC onto the Bologna, and a great wall from Fine OK. Gold Fury to the Oni Warriors. Now you just got to get out of this fight alive, because the health bars do not favor you if you're the Oni Warriors, and it looks like they will indeed be able to disengage, and the Jade Dragons empty-handed in the Fury pit.
I love again, just the call. They get the pressure, they have the numbers advantage. You know that there's going to be a little weaker on relics for the Dragons there, so take the fight where you can. And this one's a little more interesting to me. Tier 1 in mid, deemed worth defending. They might even be able to kill off Sam.
Well, Sam doesn't have Lord of the Afterlife. Fatal Strike for Kivo Fred. Doesn't make its way through. Eagles Rally doesn't either. And now the rest of the 4 J Dragons members trying to fight in. And how about the damage from Pandacat onto Dardes? Slows down the initiation. Nika's done enough. And I think that might be the right call. Both tanks TKO'd from the fight. Nika's got to back off. So does Sanford Soccer. Ends up just being some poking and prodding, but Oni Warriors keep their Tier 1 and mid on the map.
Some big relics burned, though, right? The teleport being down for Nika maybe isn't the end of the world. Beads being down for Kivo is going to make things a little more difficult. Trying to dive as deep as you do on an Achilles, especially against a Ymir, against a Fafnir. A lot more consistent CC available for the Dragons here. And so if Kivo tries to go too deep, maybe in the wrong position, or any of these fights, if it erupts in the next 2 minutes, it's going to be a pretty easy turnaround, or at least easy CC to peel for the Dragons. Big news is instead that Dardes manages to keep their ult available. And that is a huge deal to me. After you get that Fury, now you've got your ult. Fire Giant's the only thing on the map, and this was around the time last game that we started to see a vie for the fight for the Fire Giant. So I think that they can start to go towards the right-hand side. Pyromancer's going to be up in a minute and a half, 2 minutes as well. So there is still an easy opening for the Warriors with pressure on this side to find an objective, even if it's not as big as the FG itself. And I think that's really where the focus needs to be, is trying to get some control. Ward vision's already in their favor. And if they can get a pick, it's going to be one of the easiest Fire Giants. Even if they don't, I think they've got the team fight to back themselves up to be in control of the FG pit.
Yep. Good tread from a couple members of the Jade Dragons. Look at Sam and Pagon, who've had decent games up to this point. Pagon has been hitting the eject button in seemingly every fight up to this point. The Bifrost and the ult from the Heimdall have just been so necessary under the immense dive that the Oni Warriors have brought forward. Sanford Soccer had a general idea where Dardes might be going there. But continued dive presence Warriors. But also a good look has been Panicat on this Yu Huang. We've done plenty of speculating as far as, why the role swaps, why the lane swaps, why not change the players, who's playing on what. At this point, Pagon has proven that, or Panicat rather, has proven that whether or not Pagon is a better Yu Huang or not, Pandacat is a worthwhile guy to have playing this Yu Huang, because damage numbers in a lot of these fights, even from a bit behind, have just been connecting and shredding Dardes, shredding Vote early in the fights.
And both of their damage numbers, I mean, 21,000 split between the two of them, I guess round up to 22,000 because of where their numbers are sitting at. And that's a good chunk of damage for the two of them to combine into. It's just so difficult, though, because like you said, it feels like Pagon a lot of the time in the last couple of fights has just been on the back foot, hasn't really been able to get aggressive. And there's only so much you can do as Yu Huang.
Uh-oh, Dardes looks for the stun, doesn't get it. And now with wall, tether, transformation forced, and an Eagles rally out from Dardes. But a couple members of the J Dragons left on the front line of the fight, being worked down by Dharmic Pillars. Cubo Fred are on the left side of the Pyromancer pit. J Dragons a bit healthier and have the AoE Coerce out on the map. Frenzy not available any longer. A reset from Nika, but Nika will teleport to the mid lane tier 1. The only Warriors are going to stick around.
Yeah, Dardos is able to get back into the fight as well. That's an engage from Nika.
Oh, that's a big stun from Nika. And the J Dragons left running. No counter engage from the J Dragons. It was all used just a moment ago, but that's it from Panda Cat. Look at the back line, and the health is gone. Panda Cat, a big play on the front of this fight to turn around damage numbers, and look who's up top in the damage department. It's the Yu Huang out of nowhere.
I mean, that was just so beautiful. Walking in the corridor immediately, you're getting a massive line ability, Roots 3. I mean, that damage could not have been more from Panda Cat, the way that lines up.
Nice
now with
wall.
a Pyromancer, if they can kill off food here, this might just be a free FG for the Dragons.
Wow,
Shit,
that
dude.
wall is
Oh my
great,
God.
but just slow on the follow-up on the J Dragons, and Vote will survive. I wonder, though.
I mean,
You would have to turn back immediately
Yeah.
and gone to the FG to feel confident about it. So there was an opportunity for the Oni Warriors still ever so slightly ahead of this game. And the J Dragons don't want to risk it, risk the set, risk game 3 here on a Fire Giant call. I was thinking you might feel more confident if Kivo Fred dies off, but instead this seems like pure objective play, transform, realize Kivo Fred's out, and get to tier 1.
I mean, it feels like a game of inches, right? Any little bit you can get is going to give you enough that you can at least start pushing forward. Gold-wise, not really that different. Map state-wise, both teams have knocked down 2 tier 2s. It's all in this fight.
Mike in, wall up, Nika in the back line. Ultimate out from Vote. Kivo Fred has big damage onto Panda Cat and Pagon. Both of them gotta go. Execute, hits one, execute. Finds a second target, but not a second kill. Kivo Fred opens up the killing.
That's a good
Vote
kill.
answers back. Fine, okay, hands the double to Kivo Fred and the Oni Warriors with a big chase down.
And now, look, they've got time on their side. 50 seconds in a 2v5, and Sam has to go back to base. PBM has to go back to base. Too low to even think about trying to contest this. Nika gets a little bit of break time because he had to go back and heal himself up, but just a good engage. I mean, getting that much damage so early on onto Pagon and specifically onto Panda Cat, making the Dragons regret going up as far as they did. Immediate turnaround for the Warriors. And talking about the dive, their potential, it was met in that case. They were able to get into the back line, follow it up incredibly fast. They kill off Pagon very quickly, chasing him down like it's nothing, burning both the relics there. Then Panda Cat just is left in a kind of awkward spot. You're Yu Huang, you have a lot of safety, but it only goes so far. And unfortunately, once it ran out, he was stuck standing behind 5 members of the Warriors alongside Fine OK. And Fine OK did his best to peel, at least what he could, but it did not give enough space for them. So I think, again, maybe a good start for the play for the Dragons, but just a brilliant turnaround by the Warriors. And that might be one of the biggest swings and the strongest swings that we've gotten to see this game.
Could potentially be a game-ending swing if the Oni Warriors are able to push that advantage. Oni Fury confirmed. Still plenty of towers on the map for the Oni Warriors to work down, so Titan's still going to be relatively strong at this point. Would need a deicide under probably an already killed off Phoenix for the Oni Warriors to end it on this Fire Giant buff. Now the J Dragons under this very Phoenix in game number 2 were able to put up a good defense. A team comp built somewhat similarly. Got to keep your eyes on Panda Cat and how far along that build is. Good burst damage from the Yu Huang. It just feels like the team fighting, that second wind in the team fight has just been so on point from the Oni Warriors this game. Where it looks like Fine OK and Mike, yeah, they got the 2-man wall, they got the initiation. And then some flank, some re-engage from the Oni Warriors has flipped things around.
This is a good spot. I'm keeping my eyes on Kivo on the map. I thought for a second he was going to loop around and try to pince right between these two, or this tier 2 tower, and go between the Phoenix and try to find a pincer onto Pagon, onto Panda Cat, maybe an opening. Right now, keeping the Osiris preoccupied. Now he's making the rotation.
Evo Fred will avoid the damage, but does put enough pressure on the Jade Dragons to make them back off. And so, if the Oni Warriors, I was thinking maybe setting a trap for the Jade Dragons, but won't be, and the Oni Warriors head back to base. And a couple of towers on the right side. Definitely a setup style of Fire Giant. You're going to finish off some of the build score. I mean, still pretty far behind Sanford Soccer as far as build goes. Luckily, experience, even at this point. But gold still matters by a decent margin for the Oni Warriors team. Relic's not even upgraded yet. As the Jade Dragons needing to find a great engage here in a couple of minutes. Otherwise, you're looking at a lost set in Game 3.
Now I'm trying to figure out, you know, much like you said, where exactly the rallying line is, because you've lost a lot more. I mean, similar map state, actually, to Game 2 towards the end, right? You've got 2 Phoenixes exposed, 1 Tier 2. I'm surprised the Dragons are stepping up as far as they are. I think they can delay a Tier 2, no problem, but not by a lot. And so I like the call to immediately fall back. But with Pagon as far away as he is right now, still going to take a little bit to regroup. It's not going to be an opening wide enough for the Warriors to get super aggressive, but at least gets them a wave into the Phoenix. This is where Panda Cat specifically went massive in the last game, though. Being under the Phoenix, the Yu Huang having just any mage that has standardized abilities like a Yu Huang is going to be good under a Phoenix. It's going to be good for the root that it has, the damage numbers we saw earlier. I mean, there's a reason he's up at the top still, despite being 0-1 and 1. It is just because he hits incredibly hard. And a good ult, well placed and well timed, pulls Warriors into an unforgiving fight under the Phoenix. Luckily, he's not going to have to think about that for a little bit. Right now, they've got to think about whether or not it's worthwhile fighting over this FG. And last time around, after the first fire jump,